would you do if you discovered you may have the brain of a killer?
Were you shocked?
It was a big shock, but still, I was looking for an explanation.
When we come back.
Don't let the scooter fool you. This neuroscientist is a master at identifying the brain of a killer.
Here's a comparison of the normal SPECT scan and some murderers.
Give Dr. James Fallon several random brain scans and he'll spot the murderer every time.
This particular murderer, look at the size of the holes. The orbital
His reputation is such that even Hollywood has tapped his expertise.
The 5 brains we identified all had damage in the orbital cortex, which is right above the eyes.
But for Dr. Fallon, his interest in psychopathic research has taken a shocking Hollywood turn all of its own, veering from the professional to the personal.
When I was in college and when I was growing up, people said, well, there's a kind of a dark side to you. And I said, but I don't do anything bad. They said, it doesn't matter, you have a dark side to you.
It all started innocently enough during a conversation with his mother.
I said, well, you know, Jim, why don't you look into your family background while you're studying these criminal minds? Because I had heard through the years, being married to his father, that there were many murders in the family.
When she said, check your father's side of the family, there's some real trouble with the wink.
And what did you discover?
That there was several notorious killers starting in the 1600s.
In your direct line?
The direct father's line of Cornell's.
Fallon is a descendant of the famous Cornell family, founders of the Ivy League University. But the Cornells also appear to have had an alarming penchant for homicide, 6 by Fallon's own count. The last in line of alleged murderers was Cornell cousin Lizzie Borden, the notorious 19th century spinster who inspired a haunting and instantly recognizable nursery rhyme. Borden was accused of murdering both her father and her stepmother.
But here's you, studying other murderers, suddenly discovering that your own lineage is littered with them. What was your reaction when you discovered that?
Frankly, it was kind of funny. But on the other hand, it got me to thinking a bit that, what if it's us? Or, what if it's still around?
So Fallon did what any sensible neuroscientist would do. He analyzed brain scans of himself and his family, his mother, his wife, his siblings, even his children.
And everybody looked normal.
And everyone's clear?
Everyone's clear.
And you're happy?
I'm happy, except there's one bad scan. One of the PET scans showed really a very abnormal pattern. And it showed that there was almost no activity in this person's orbital cortex and temporal lobe. It looked exactly like all these murderers that I had been looking at.
Whose was it?
It was mine, as it turns out, as luck would have it.
It was yours?
It was mine.
Unlike the rest of his family, Fallon had remarkably low activity in his orbital cortex, the part of the brain that acts as a brake on impulsive behavior. This was also the same area that was abnormal in the brains of murderers.
Were you shocked?
When I saw my brain scan, I was a bit concerned about it. It was a big shock, but still, I was looking for an explanation. Oh, if I have that, why aren't I like that?
Fallon then followed up his brain scan study with a thorough examination of his own family's DNA. Once again, the results were startling.
Again, one person had all the high-risk forms of genes that are now known as, warrior genes. And of course, it turned out to be my own genes.
Fallon now knew he had both the neurological and genetic markers of a classic psychopath.
Looking at these two, I should be really a problematic individual, really should be.
But here we are. You've got the genetic inheritance. You've got a brain that appears to function like a murderer's brain. But you've not committed any murders.
No.
In fact, you've never really hurt anybody.
No. I'm very peaceful.
This dark realization threw Dr. Fallon's entire world into question. He believed that psychopaths may be wired to kill. So then why hasn't he been out murdering people?
So does that mean that the thesis is wrong?
It could be that the idea, the thesis is wrong, or there's some other mitigating factor. So that got me to thinking something I never would have thought, that really a lot of love and nurturing could actually neutralize this bad biology.
Unlike many homicidal psychopaths, Fallon had a childhood filled with love and encouragement, surrounded by a large and supportive family.
Did you dote on him?
I don't think so. How do you dote on a kid when you have 6 kids? He was just so adorable. I guess we just loved him. Maybe we did dote on him, I don't know.
He was treated so well by everybody. A large Sicilian family, a large English-Irish family, and we all had great fun.
Fallon married his high school sweetheart, and they raised 3 children of their own, providing them with the same love and support they had felt as kids.
As you were growing up, did you ever feel that your dad was, I don't know, angry, irascible, impatient? Was he ever difficult towards you?
He was never difficult. There was never violence. Everybody wanted to be his friend. Everybody loves to be around him.
The same biological patterns that may make a psychopath manipulative and violent may, in the case of Fallon, have produced an impulsive but fun-loving family man.
Everyone always liked to be at our house because they really liked our parents.
You really are charming, and it's not fake.
He says it's his environment that may have made all the difference.
He says that what he's learned about his brain and his own genetics means that if he didn't have such a loving family, he might well have gone on to do some very bad things.
Isn't that interesting?
What's your reaction to that?
Well, I guess I'm glad I was good to him.
Do you think if you didn't have that environment, given what you now know about your brain and your genetics, that in all likelihood you may well have gone on to do something seriously criminal?
I think so. I don't know if I would have been violent, but an honest answer is I believe I would have had a much different outcome and worse outcome as an adolescent and adult. Knowing people love you and then loving them back has got to be the greatest gift that we have. It's the ability to do that because it seems to overcome all biology.